Good morning from Disturbia, 11:15 in the morning on the 14th of October. I was just listening to the radio and they were talking about the likelihood of sending people to Mars to live there. And the moderator was talking to a professor from the University of Munich. And the professor from the University of Munich said, oh yes, I believe it's highly likely and it's going to happen. He'll do it. And the only problem is it's really hard to get people, it's really hard to land on Mars because there is no atmosphere. Well, I thought that was the case in all of so-called outer space, that there is no atmosphere. That's why any kind of aircraft travel is impossible. Oh my gosh, it just gets dumb and dumber, doesn't it? And yet we're hearing this on the radio, you know, and so you have to ask yourself, what is radio all about? Excuse me. Take a look at this sky here. It looks like it's been twisted, and then you've got these holes, and then you've got these slashes. They've always got a washboard pattern of some kind going on. They need to mix these two kinds of metals, the blue and the white, in order to create a charge, and then of course that is shot through with electricity. It's like a battery. That's how battery works. Electricity takes place right at the socket, and somehow they're able to measure what we use, and that's what they charge us for. It should be absolutely free. It shouldn't cost anything. Because I was told that I have to move house, since I got home from the rehab after I broke my leg, I've been doing some house cleaning and just throwing away old documentation from the bank. For example, I had documentation back to 2001. And the first place that I lived at, I used to pay something like €12 a month for electricity, and I always got money back from my landlady at the end of the year. I lived there 4 years, and anyway, you know, and ever since the Great War, they've been incrementally dragging mankind down. First, they had, after the slaughter of all those men and women and children, they had to make reparations and make amends. But ever since, it seems like, for example, 2009, to me, that's when really, well, of course, 2001 with 9/11, the financial system has been degraded. There's been inflation. There are many more poor people than there were. There are many more so-called refugees. You know, the thing about refugees is, what good does it do if they come here and start building enclaves? It used to be that nations would guard their borders and not let everyone come in who was seeking asylum. What is asylum? That's a made-up word. That's a made-up idea, so that we accept all these refugees coming in. And the thing is, it's hard for me. I'm 60 now. What landlord is going to want to take me in with 2 cats going into retirement in a couple of years? And another thing I've realized is they're trying to turn people on to communistic living. Well, even if you're not turned on to it, many are going to be forced into it because they cannot afford a place of their own. They can't afford it. I mean, you're paying for a 2-bedroom apartment, sometimes upwards of €900. And then they don't want animals. Many places are now furnished Somebody told me the other day the reason why they're furnished is because it's easier to get renters out of them than if they're not furnished. And, you know, the thing is, it's become so carnivorous. It's just so cannibalistic, the whole thing. You know, I use you for what you can give me, and when I'm done with you, I'm going to throw you away. I'm done with you. And then you can see what your fate will be. You know, all those years that I lived in that apartment, 18 years, and now all of a sudden, okay, you've got to make way for my grandson. I don't believe the story. I don't believe the grandson wants to move in there. The minute he has a girlfriend and they have a child, or, you know, they're going to move out. And they displace me for that reason. It's really sad how mankind has become his own worst enemy. And it's all because of money. And this is the way the system is set up. You know, the money is going to disappear one day anyway, and then what are we going to do? It'll be interesting to see if people go at each other's throats or what exactly happens. I mean, that's happening now anyhow. And they're creating this cleft between the left and the right, and really all politicians, in my opinion, worship Baal. That's what it's all about for them. It's about the will of Satan and manifesting him on earth for his 1,000-year reign. It's only going to last an hour according to the Bible, but they don't believe the Bible. They know the Bible's true, but they don't believe it at the same time. You see, this is their kind of schizophrenic thinking. And this is what they force on us also. God says, do not be afraid of them, but when you consider the fact that there were many martyrs burnt at the stake and tortured beforehand. I was just watching a video yesterday about Sir Thomas More, who had those that he condemned live at his house, and they were tortured. He tried to give Thomas More the benefit of the doubt and say, well, we're not sure if he tortured them or not, but why were they at his house? You know, and then they tell you that they're going to go to hell. We're going to burn you alive at the stake, and then you go to hell and burn forever. Who's going to burn forever? Who? Mankind. You know, God is the judge. If they read the Bible, they'd know. But you see, they don't read the Bible. Look at how this thing is glowing to beat the band. That's not where the sun is. Why do these clouds glow? This morning it was 5 degrees. I looked later on in the week. I kept thinking it's going to get cooler and cold. No, it's just going to keep going up and down like a yo-yo. Today it'll be 8 degrees at night. Wednesday it's going to be 10. Thursday it's going to be 12 at night. And during the day it'll be 19 degrees. That means it's proportionally warmer at night when there is no sun than it is during the day. I mean, these jokers are just really literally provoking us to think about what's happening. And yet when we realize what's happening and we say it out loud, we're called crazy people. You know, I shouldn't say we, because I don't really know too many who see it, really. You know, they think that this is normal. It's atrocious is what it is, and it's totally artificial. Unnatural, and it's killing us. It's an electric blanket. And yet we've been conditioned over decades. I remember when I saw my first blue clouds. That was, I think, back in 2016. I broke my arm, and I was walking to my horses every day, the 1.5 hours there, the 1.5 hours back. And when I got there, I would walk. I mean, I did a heck of a lot of walking back in the day, and I had time to look at the sky, and I really could always feel this pressure from the microwaving. It is a horrible. You feel like there's no atmosphere. You feel like you're being pressed. You're being compressed, compacted. And then all of a sudden, the wind will start blowing. So what is actually going on, I do not know. But it seems to me like there is, like it says, you know, if you look up mercury, you'll see that mercury soaks up oxygen, and they soak it up. And this is when you really, but a lot of people don't feel it. they'll say, oh, it's humid. It's not humid. I mean, I've talked about this really almost till I'm blue in the face. But anyhow, what's this video about? Well, it's about this and that, really. It's just a general rant about the condition of the world and how it is. And I mean, I was talking to a colleague this morning. She said, well, I'm an optimist, and I believe that things will get better. And I'm just thinking to myself, when, how? You know, because you can see the progression in the downward spiral without reprieve and without relief.